I've got Father Bill here with us in anticipation of relaunching The Stream Doctor, which was a show where I basically you could submit your channel and I would look at it live on stream and give you feedback and just be like point out things to fix and give my opinion on how to improve your stream. So Father Bill was actually on The Stream Doctor as I guess, a patient, and recently was offered partnership on Twitch. So, we're going to talk to him a little bit more about his journey and what it's been like to reach partnership. So, let's just start with some introductions, Father Bill. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and what you do?
Sure. Well, as I'm sure most of your folks can tell, I'm a Roman Catholic priest, been ordained since 1999. And as I tell my stream, but I've been a gamer since the 1980s, starting with late in the 70s, a game called Pong, and moved on to more advanced systems by the time I reached high school. And started streaming years ago, but in a podcast side of things. I was doing more podcasting than and would live stream when I would record my podcast. Took a couple year hiatus because a whole bunch of reasons. But when I came back to streaming, I had never heard of Twitch before I discovered it via YouTube. Somebody had done a YouTube clip of a game that I had started playing. And I was like, oh, they're doing a live stream. I wonder what that's like. And clicked on. And a couple of years after I discovered that, then I moved on to doing a stream myself. So that's kind of how I stumbled onto streaming, live streaming on Twitch. I pastor two small parishes in South Central Illinois, and I am also a chaplain at a Catholic high school in a local community. So I'm fairly busy, but I do enjoy sharing the games and times that I get to share with my community. So I'm very grateful to the help that you gave me. That's helped me to reach even more folks, to encounter even more folks because of the uh, tips that you and some other streamers have given me over the years.
That's awesome. So when you started streaming, what were your goals? Like, did you expect to get partnered? Like, what were you hoping to accomplish with streaming?
Initially, my goals were to support my gaming community. I belong to a gaming community called the First Crucis Recon. It's a pseudo sim military, or was a pseudo sim military group. We played a game called MechWarrior Online. We've since moved on to other games, and we're not doing the the mill sim that we were doing back then, but we're still a gaming community. And I wanted to let folks know that even though we weren't playing MechWarrior Online, which was the game I started streaming and still stream on occasion, um, I wanted to let folks know that not only we were still there, but we were looking for new people to join us. Two, it was to support the MechWarrior Online community, which was going through some transition. The game was in a rough patch, and they're still in a bit of a rough patch, but they're getting better. So to support that community and just be a content creator, getting that platform out there. So that was what my primary goals were. I I didn't know what partner was, honestly. Um, I slowly began to understand, for me, partnership, the big thing that partnership gives me, and I'll be just this was my primary goal. Things are evolving, but my primary goal was to get transcoding because
Mm,
so many people have a struggle watching. I try and push my stream out at a fairly good quality.
yeah.
Um, but I wanted to make sure that anybody who wanted to watch could watch. And transcoding for the longest time, that was my biggest goal in securing somehow, way, shape, or form transcoding so that anybody who wanted to watch the stream could watch the stream. So when I discovered that to get that on a absolute basis, you had to be a partner, then I started angling that direction.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's such an important thing to have, and I think when you're a smaller streamer, like you don't get instant access to that thing. As a partner, you always have that no matter what. And Twitch has worked to expand that to more people, more affiliates. But it's still not a given. So it's crazy like how many people can be left out because I mean you think about people on mobile like not having smaller resolutions to choose from to watch while they're on the go, people with bad internet connections that can't watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like having more options, it's basically accessibility. It's being more people
Yes,
being able to access your content.
absolutely. And that was the big thing, was the accessibility. I wanted folks who wanted to sit and be part of the community to become part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
To have that option of becoming part of the community.
Yeah, for sure. So what was the space like for you when you started out? Like, what were some frustrations or struggles that you dealt with when you started streaming?
Uh, I, you know, frustration finding time.
That's
That
a
was the
tough one.
biggest one. I listed two parishes. I'm creating communities in two small parishes and the community at the high school. So I'm kind of doing all that stuff all the time anyway. Trying to find a time where I'm not going to be running to this thing
Mm,
every 5 minutes or so
mm-hmm.
because somebody needs to call me. There have been many a stream. In fact, when I've streamed outside of my regular times, where I've had to say, "Hey, folks, sorry, I've got to go. Somebody needs me," and thankfully, my community has understood that when I get a phone call and gotta go, I gotta go.
Mm-hmm.
So finding that time, finding the consistency, at times finding the energy. When you feel like you're doing the same things again and again and again, and you've hit a ceiling or hit a wall, as the case may be, um, to have the energy to keep plugging, keep doing what needs to be done is that can be challenging, especially when you've got so many other things on your plate. But
Yeah.
I have a bit of a stubborn streak, shall I say, a bit of a stubborn streak that really kept me, plugging away. And I stumbled on something unique that I don't recommend for anyone. But I stumbled on something unique that a particular challenge in my life actually turned into a bit of a blessing. Um, because one of my struggles in life is I suffer from occasional insomnia, or I did suffer from occasional insomnia, where I couldn't sleep for hours on end, stare up at the ceiling and not see anything. Well, one of those nights when I was staring up at the ceiling and couldn't fall asleep, I said, "Oh, the heck with it." I got up and I played my guitar. Then I went and played a video game. And then I had this wild idea. Why don't I stream? And something very strange, wonderful, and shall I say miraculous happened. People started to show up. Not that people hadn't shown up, but when your time was limited, I could do 1 or 2 hours because I had found this weird space in time where I wasn't shackled to my phone, although my phone was always there. I did get called out a couple of times in my early morning slot. Um, there are a couple of times where I haven't uh, been able to be there for whatever reason. But on the whole, I found that I got into a regular sleep schedule, odd, but regular, and found time to stream and could do all the other things that I'm supposed to do. Take care of the parishes, go to the high school, do the things at the high school, do the meetings for my local church and the bigger church that I belong to, the diocese in Springfield. Doing all those different things, it makes for a full day, I'll tell you, but a good day, and
Mhm.
one that uh, um, took a whole bunch of challenges and turned it into a whole bunch of uh, opportunity.
That's
I'll say
awesome.
that.
Yeah, it's interesting because, neither your profession and streaming are typical 9 to 5s. Like you have, probably a really odd schedule.
To say
And
the least.
I think like, that's one thing that I try to tell people is like, oh, when is the best time to stream? Well, it's when it works for you, when you have your best energy, when you have that time. There's not like a golden hour for anyone who's starting streaming. Like there's opportunity and viewership at any hour of the day. So find what works for you ultimately, because like you're the one that has to be on at that time, right? Like if you are not a
Mhm.
morning person, don't stream in the morning. Like do something else, like sleep during that time or something. Stream in the middle of the night if that works for you. So you came onto the stream doctor. How
Mhm.
long had you been streaming up until that point?
It was probably 2 years at that point, and for 2 years, I had to. I didn't remember when I started, but I went to a website that tracked my first day as, and it's, if not the actual first day, it's pretty close.
Mhm.
Because I did find a overlay that a friend had done for me, and it had on it the date, the date before what that website said my first stream was, um, you know, uh, July 27th of 2016. So it was about 2 going on 3 years when I came on the Stream Doctor.
Nice.
And it was, I had a consistent audience, but I had the sense that there was more that could be done, and I wasn't sure how to do it.
Mm. So you came on the show. What was that experience like for you? Did I yell at you? Because some people are joking that they're afraid to be on the show. Like, what
No,
was that experience like?
no. The experience was, you looked at my vods, you looked at my different, you looked at the panels that I was using, you looked at the entirety of my content package, if you will. That, Twitter. Um, did I have a website link? Did I have, you know the different elements that create the streaming package, that is useful in presenting the stream itself? And you looked over my vods and you liked the look of it. Um, you immediately, and I heard and understood, and acknowledged in the stream, okay, you don't talk. Yeah, and I would talk at the start of the stream, and if I noticed, I've got a monitor so I can see chat while I'm playing the game, and if somebody said something in chat, I'd say that. But otherwise, I was dead focused on the game, and it was like, ooh, that's, oh yeah. And I still there are moments where I get zoned in, and um, they especially if I'm in a particularly, one of the nicknames that they've given me in these moments is when I become Berserker Bill. Um, when when I just really get into whatever, if it's Elite Dangerous fighting another ship, or if it's in MechWarrior Online, I've got some mech zoned in on, and I'm going to blow it up. Whatever it happens to be, I kind of get zoned in, and I don't talk a lot during that. But apart from that, I started doing what you recommended, is just describe what you're doing. Talk about what's going on. Um, give an insight to why you're doing what you're doing. Um, and I can't say that it started easily because um, even though I talk for a living, I do it in a very prepared, scripted way.
For sure.
I spend hours crafting the messages that I speak in my churches. And this was more extemporaneous extroversion without the penalty of extroversion. Uh, as an introvert and nearly off the scale introvert in my temperament, um, I am able to. I have found the ability to extrovert myself and talk about things off the cuff, sometimes to my detriment, but most of the time, to my detriment, making people laugh. But most of the time, just talking about what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and just to give air
Yeah.
to something that's going on at a given time. And that was, apart from actually using Twitter to do something other than just post one thing at a time, I'm going live, I'm going live, I'm going live. I became much more active on Twitter, mostly for um, the games that I follow, the streamers that I follow. I'm a big space nerd. Go figure. Playing Elite Dangerous. I'm a big fan of anything that flies from the Earth into outer space. If I see a tweet on it, I'm out there retweeting it or commenting on it, or I before all I did was go on live, go on live, go on live, occasional retweet here and there, but most of the time, you know, uh, just I didn't know what to do with Twitter. I didn't understand it, and you helped me to understand that it's part of how people get to know who you are and the stuff that interests you. So I did all that uh, at your suggestion. Um, those are the things that I remember very, very clearly. Is you've got to talk, you've got to engage with your community,
Hmm.
and you always use that word, by the way, community. I know Twitch uses that word a lot, and some people kind of talking about community, but it is you're creating uh, that group of followers is a group of people who have a common interest, a common understanding of a certain subject or a certain game or a certain whatever. And you're helping to inform that community, to build that community, to sustain that community. One of the things that I need to work on now to continue that is by using Discord, which is something I'm not so
Mm,
good at. I
yeah.
have a Discord server, I use it, but I'm not. That's one of those things I haven't found time for it just yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's a
That's
lot
that's for
to juggle
future.
all
That's for
this. Yeah.
future.
Like one thing at a time. And I know that you mentioned the whole like talking more. What was that like for you to do that more? Like, do you feel like you've gotten better? Is it easier for you now?
I now am. It's funny. I always have an internal monologue. I'm talking in the back of my mind, okay, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it. Just for my own rationale, I'm thinking things through.
Hmm.
Well, now, although I won't do this outside, I'll very often when I'm in a meeting or I'm talking to someone face to face, I said, give me a moment. Let me put my thoughts together. Well, instead of putting my thoughts together, I just started talking my inner monologue, okay, what's this doing? Why is that guy doing that? What can I do to make this better? Um, asking those questions that I was already asking myself and doing it in such a way that it was interactive.
Mm.
Um, that took some time because like I said, occasionally I misspeak.
We all do.
And once it's out on the internet, it's out there, and I have to be careful. I have to be real careful
Yeah.
for a whole bunch of reasons, but for the most part, the gaffes that I make are humorous, and but that's one of the things that is always in the background. Okay, now how's this going to come across? It just, that will be my hesitation. Is this going to cause, if it's a laugh, that's fine. If it does something more because I say something wrong, you know I don't I don't want to alienate anyone. Some things I'm
Hmm.
going to say people aren't going to be happy with. I'm fully aware of that, and I'm not going to change that. I'm going to say what I need to say.
Hmm.
But if I say something and I didn't intend, well, that's what I try and avoid.
Hmm.
And that's something that I've always tried to do. Um, uh, to not make those verbal mistakes, those verbal missteps that I yeah, I just don't want to hurt others. I don't want
Hmm.
to cause um any chance that they would feel alienated.
Hmm.
So I've got that in the background that will sometimes quiet me down. And then of course, energy. If I was tired, it was tough. It's tough to talk.
Yeah.
Um, so it, it started slow. It was a little bit at a time. And then as I got into that regular rhythm, when I got into a schedule that made sense and I was able to stream typically 4 hours a day, sometimes as long as six. I have a long day that can go 6 to 8. Um, but most days it's 4 hours. And I just set myself up and started talking from the minute that I got going. The only time that I don't talk generally is if I'm in the middle of something that, like I said, I'm in the zone, or if I'm taking a sip from my Void mug, which is a little gag that I have. Um, uh, I had a parishioner give to me a mug that she knew I needed lots of caffeine in the morning. She didn't know why I needed it, but she knew I needed it. Well, it was painted. The reason she gave it to me, she said, "Well, what color do you want?" I said, "Well, green." And so, it's kind of I call it the void mug. So when I pull it up and I've got my green screen turned on and chroma keys on, it looks like it's invisible.
Yeah,
And
that's
I say,
awesome.
yeah, it holds more than your average amount of caffeinated fluid. And it's one of those little things that just makes people giggle. And it was actually given to me by a parishioner, and I say, yeah, it was crafted by a local artisan, given to me by a parishioner, and it's just one of those little things that um, I added the void mug part to it, but it's one of those things that makes the stream come to life, kind of
Yeah.
like Booker, or shall I say, Blobby.
Okay, so that's going to conclude the interview. We're done here. um, so you made some changes to your stream. You started talking more. Started using Twitter more. Were there any other big takeaways that you got out of the show? And
Consistency.
okay, okay,
Consistency. And I got that not only from the stream doctor, which you talked about. Yeah, you need to get into what is reasonable for you, but I saw what you did and what other streamers that I follow do.
hmm,
And I saw that consistency, that deliberative consistency. Um, you know, if people know that you will start within 5 minutes before or 5 minutes after the time that you intend to start, they tend to show up. And that builds momentum.
absolutely.
And the sooner you get folks to come, the sooner your numbers start going up, and people, for better or for worse, the way that the metrics work, people see numbers and they're going to pop into the number that makes sense to them. Not everybody jumps to the biggest number, not everybody goes to the smallest number, but they find a number that makes sense to them. And, again, starting at that deliberate time helped folks to find me. I had a stream. One of the games I played did a dev streamer hunt where people were hunting down streamers, to chase them down in the game, and if they took you out, they got a prize.
That's cool.
That was injected into their account. And I can't believe I'm about to say this. Someone pointed out a Reddit thread to me. Yes, I occasionally look at Reddit. Someone had pointed out a Reddit thread to me that somebody said, well, thanks to Father Bill's schedule, I actually know when he's going to be on, so I can drop against him. And that goes back to that whole consistency. People can find you.
Absolutely. So how did things go after you started making these changes? Did you notice, like, I don't know, like more people coming in, or did you feel better about your stream?
So people started to recognize something's changed and gave me further feedback. It was a way of building the feedback. I have a very dedicated, I just said goodbye to my longest moderator. They had to move on to other things, but with their help and the other moderators, we've kind of talked things through and found, okay, that worked, this didn't work. And then other members of the community, long-term members of the community, would just give feedback and say, well, why don't you try this? Or why don't you try that? And some of it I did, and some of it I didn't. I talked with other streamers. I've got some very good friends who are longtime streamers and fairly successful, as I understand success. They're able to support themselves, and I'm not into this for financial support. The financial support is wonderful. It's allowed me to support. Actually, this is kind of a neat thing. Twitch pays for the internet connection that I use to stream our masses.
Really?
Weekdays and weekends.
Wow, that is awesome.
I don't know if I would have had the long-term funds. I had short-term funds to do it, and I started doing it before I started streaming on Twitch. But after a while, it got to the point where Twitch paid for that, which allowed me to do streaming of the mass. And especially after March last year,
yeah,
that was important. So it's kind of funny how those two worlds have intermingled. Twitch allows me to do so many things, but it's helped me out in my priestly ministry as well.
That's so cool. That's really awesome. Like, how supportive Twitch community can be. Like,
oh, I'm blown away by the Twitch community at large, and the MechWare Online, Elite Dangerous, and that other group of people who've somehow stumbled upon me. One of the neatest things that's ever happened to me, and I just 2 weeks ago had my very first charity stream. And I remember back in the day when I saw a lot of charity streams, and I thought, oh, I don't know if I could ever do that. Well, I got an email from Gamers Outreach, and they said, could you possibly? And I hemmed and hawed about it, and I thought about it, and I talked to my mods, and I said, give it a try. Let's see what happens. Well, Gamers Outreach creates these things they call go-karts. Gamers Outreach carts, which go into children's hospitals or hospitals in general that have a children's ward, and create gaming carts for kids who can't get to the other gaming assets that they may have. These carts can go to their bedside, can go to their isolation rooms, and take care of them. And I thought, I set a goal, and I thought, if we get this, I'll be happy. I thought $500, if my community can do that, that would be tremendous. By the end of it, and I, how did they put it? I got shut down 3 times. Father.exe has shut down.
You got broken.
I got broken 3 times. We raised $4,220.
What?
$4,220, which was enough for a go-kart, and a little bit more
Holy
to
crap.
go towards gamers outreach. So yeah, the support of the Twitch community and the community that, with the help of a lot of folks I've been able to form around that Twitch channel, just blew me away.
It's amazing.
Absolutely blew me away.
Yeah, it's, I know a lot of smaller streamers get hesitant about running charity streams because they're like, oh no, I don't know if I can raise enough. Like, any bit that you can raise, first of all, is incredible and helpful. And, don't underestimate your community because they will come out for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's really awesome. So you also recently got partnered on Twitch, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I had at the recommendation of a buddy who's a streamer, he said, you know what, you're kind of at a point where you might be able to be considered. I hadn't quite met the metrics, but he thought, give it a try. So November of 2018, I made an application. Didn't do it again until December of 20 for the next time. So just about 2 years later, because I finally had the metrics. A whole bunch of stuff went right. I mean, a whole bunch of stuff went right. My channel, not only did it hit the 75, but it was closer to 90. And once it hit that, it stayed there, which I think is important to Twitch. So yeah. It hit there mid-October, solidified in November, and by the end of December, 2 weeks after I submitted my, 2 weeks after I had officially met actually 3 weeks, because I kind of sat there and went, really? Just surprised. So I made my application, and then I really, I was really broken. I finished the stream early on a Tuesday. I only did about 6 hours instead of 8, which is, 6 to 8 is what I try and do. And depending on what I had, but there was this Tuesday I finished, and when I finished it, I was doing all my administrative stuff. Tuesday is officially my day off. It's the one day a week that I take off. The rest of the week I've got things to do, but Tuesday is my day. So I thought, well, I'll check my email. I'll check this, that, or the other thing. And I was getting ready to close a window, and I saw in the upper left-hand corner of my, upper right-hand corner, excuse me, of my stream manager, the stream dashboard, stream manager dashboard, I saw a message. I thought, well, let's see, maybe somebody whispered me or something. And it wasn't on my Twitch. It was on my channel. And it said, congratulations. And I'm like, no. And then I couldn't find the email, because they sent me that email with that neat graphic, and I couldn't find it. I was like, what's going on here? Well, Gmail did its thing, and So I ultimately found it, and just kind of that day went out the door. That just kind of
That's so
all
awesome.
all my plans went out the door, and I had to drop by a few streams to say, hey, you were one of the reasons why, and yours was one of the streams I stopped by. You're one of the reasons why I was able to get this, and thank you. And then I did a special stream. You know, I did an extra stream that day, and just kind of the wrong word, but it seems to fit the emotion. Was I just kind of gushed? I just said thank you,
Hmm.
thank you, thank you. I never anticipated having happen. After a while, I was very comfortable with being an affiliate, but then I hit that metric, and then a couple weeks later, 3 weeks later, turned in the application, and then shortly after that, got the reply back. Wow, just wow.
That's so cool. That's amazing. So, has anything changed for you since? Because now you've been partnered for a couple months now.
Mm-hmm.
Does it feel different? Has anything changed for you?
I feel more secure. I can, if I have the energy and the to reach some of the folks that I used to reach when I'd stream late in the day. If I happen to have a couple hours in the afternoon, I don't have to worry about transcoding anymore.
Hmm.
Like I said, that was my primary goal in becoming a partner, was getting that transcoding. Um, and now I feel comfortable. Hey, I've got an extra couple hours. I'm going to be playing this game anyway. Let's hop on and do a stream. And I'm running into folks who I haven't seen, because when I shifted time zones, when I shifted time periods,
Hmm.
um, they wondered where I had gone. And they're looking for that number, or they're looking for the faces that they know on Twitch. And so I show up on those off normal times, and I've been called away a number of times when I've done those off time streams, because literally I get a phone call, I gotta go.
Hmm.
But it gives me that freedom, and I don't have to worry like I did as an affiliate when I was getting real close to partner numbers. I wouldn't stream sometimes um, when I had that extra time, because I didn't want to hurt my metrics.
Hmm.
Still don't want to hurt my metrics, but now it's like
You got that
I got the transcoding.
security. Yeah.
I got the transcoding. So let's give it a try, and I'll reach another set of folks who I otherwise wouldn't normally reach. So that has changed. Where I would have held back before, now if I have the time, energy, and availability, I'll give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, so much the better.
Nice. So is there any advice that you would like to give to streamers who are on their streaming journey based on what you've learned from, being a streamer for at this point several years and recently becoming a partner?
Um, Set your goals, know your goals, write them out. For me, it was support the communities I belong to, get transcoding. Those were my linchpins, and everything kind of flowed or in and around that um, uh, that structure. Consistency. Even when you don't feel like you have the gumption, the get up and go, get up and go. Your community, those folks who have hit the follow button, will help you get through even those low energy times. Um, so take breaks. Take your breaks. Don't. I know some folks who are 7 days a week. It's like, oh, I can't imagine that. Now I've done 7 days a week, but that's when I had lots of energy and I was having fun and, but there are weeks where it's like, nope, I won't be on Wednesday this week. I don't know if I can be on Thursday or Friday. If I am, I am. If I'm not, I have things to do. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been telling folks, hey, this is a busy week. I will not be on Saturday, Sunday. And I may not be on Thursday, Friday. It's
Mm-hmm.
just a very busy time of year for me. Um, so take your breaks. Do the things you need to take care of yourself. Um, Speak what you're doing. Communicate with your community and the greater community using social media um, to say who you are, and what you do, and how you do it. I think that aspect of communication, because I'll tell you, a lot of folks come into my stream and say, "Who are you? Are you really a priest?" And you can sense in the background, um, there's some resistance there. And I suspect all of us have sensed when we put ourselves out there, there's some resistance sometimes. But if you talk about who you are, what you do, how you do it, a lot of those resistances are reduced or go away. And you might find that somebody who walked in and just kind of looked and went, no, this can't be happening, becomes somebody who's part of the community. Maybe not a pillar, but part of the community. So, do that communication work on stream and using social media to the best of your ability. So, consistency, goals, consistency, communication, and using the tools for communication outside of the stream. And one thing that I haven't talked about at all, and I'm still struggling with, but I'm doing, is find another format to make your content get out there,
Mm-hmm.
specifically
Absolutely.
YouTube. YouTube, I found Twitch via YouTube, and I'm creating slowly, but I'm creating YouTube content that educates, entertains, and informs.
Nice.
Educates the game or whatever I'm doing, entertains, making it enjoyable, and informs them, hey, you want to see more of this, you can find me here. And then I
Mm-hmm.
put my Twitch URL up and kind of go forward from there.
Nice. Yeah, that's well said. I mean, I don't even have to do the show now. Like that, those are the best pieces of advice right there that I probably harp on all the time. So that's awesome. So yeah, with that, that's if there's anything else that you want to say, or if you can shout out your channel to everyone that's watching. Just thank you so much for coming on and talking about your experience being on the Stream Doctor and getting partnered on Twitch, because it's a tough journey, and I know there's going to be a lot of people that look up to you and what you've done. So yeah, anything else? The floor is yours.
Um, well, I said it several months ago, but I'll say it again. Thank you. Thank you for your example. Thank you for your advice. Thank you to the members of the community who have members of the Twitch community, my gaming community, my Twitch channel community who have supported me and been so just so, what's the right word, so engaging. They've so engaged me that I've felt comfortable to engage them. So thanks to everyone, and having an attitude of gratitude for whatever support you get. You'd be amazed at what happens when you say thank you. So whatever you're doing out there, make sure you do that whenever you can, whether it be a gift sub or whatever. Make sure you say thank you whenever you can, so that folks say, hey, I'm doing something good here. You're doing something good. They're doing something good. Something good comes out of it. So make sure you say thank you. And again, Loco, Dr. Loco, excuse me. Thank you so much for your example and for your assistance back when I was reviewed on the Stream Doctor. You're one of the reasons that I was able to put things together. And on December, a date that I've got on an email somewhere, I can't believe I don't remember it right now, but that late day in December, that was one of the reasons that I was able to be partner. So thank you very much.
That's awesome. That's so cool. I'm so glad to hear that. Thank you for coming around and letting me know, because that's the reward for me, is seeing the success of people who come on and learn something from me. I mean, that's entirely why I do this. So, it's the ultimate reward to see someone like get partnered off, my help. So thank you so much for coming on and talking about your experience, and shout out your
I'm
channel
grateful.
also.
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/father_Bill. So again, twitch.tv/father_Bill.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Father Bill.
Thank you.
And we'll see you around.
See you around.